Have you ever been in the middle of an important client call? Your brain is sharp, the words are flowing, and then bam, out of nowhere, a migraine hijacks your body. Has that ever happened to you? Suddenly, the meeting that you had spent hours preparing for and you paid for feels like you're climbing Everest in flip flop. That is the reality for millions of professionals and entrepreneurs living with chronic. Did you know that migraine is the leading cause of years lived with disability worldwide? And in the UK, for example, it costs approximately 3.4 billion pounds each year in lost productivity. That is a lot. Behind that number are people, leaders, innovators, change makers, and these people are losing time, energy, and opportunities. Here is a question that you might be asking yourself. And if you're not asking yourself, perhaps unconsciously you've asked yourself this. Perhaps you're asking yourself this question. Or if not, maybe it's something you should consider. Have you asked yourself, why do I cry at very, very important moments? Why do I crash at the very moment I need to perform at my best? Why do migraine come to me when the pressure is on and I need to show up? Are you wondering, am I weaker than everyone else? Here is the truth. You are not weak. Mm. Migraine, I'm sure you've had this before. Migraine is a medical condition where your brain is, shall we say, hypersensitive. The stress, the ridiculous bright lights, those fluorescent lights, oh my goodness, skip meal, the lack of sleep, all these don't just bother your brain, they overload it. Think of your brain as, let's say, maybe think of a brain as a smartphone, for example. The smartphone battery. Your smartphone battery is nice, fully charged. Everything is working on point. Apps are doing what they need to be doing. You're able to watch videos, streams. You're able to listen to podcasts. You're able to do all the things when your battery is nicely charged and full. Make all the phone calls, emails, text messages, WhatsApp message, all of it. You're able to do even your everything. You're able to do it when your phone is nice and fully charged. The battery is charged, functional, optimal. But when it starts to run at maybe 10%, 5%, have you noticed something that happens? Well, in some smartphones, it starts to not function as well. It starts to not function properly. It even when you open an app, it maybe crashes. Or if you have a super duper old phone, it just shuts down on you. That can be frustrating, especially if it happens at the most important time where you need it the most. For professionals like you, stress, overwhelm, overstimulation, this can drain you. It can drain the battery of your daily life. But what can you do instead? What can help? I'm sure you've heard this before and maybe you've been implementing it, but maybe you've not been really being intentional about how you implement it. What can help is building a buffer, hydration, sleep, eating, doing some form of exercise, having a real downtime, a real downtime. That is how you can reduce or even eliminate crashes happening to you. Say, for example, you are you're a consultant, consulting maybe for a company, and you've been on top of your game for quite a while, for most of your career, and then you're in a situation where you are at the top of your game. The next contract that you're having is going to really take you to the next stage in your career. And so you find yourself consulting for this company, perhaps, right? And then something happens. For years, you've been thriving on late nights, caffeinating yourself. You've been thriving on back-to-back meeting, making sure that you are really seen as a go-getter. You're just going, slaying all the dragons in your life. Little sleep, just living on whatever you can grab, living on caffeine and whatever you can grab to eat as you travel from place to place, country to country. But then migraine hits you the hardest after a big meeting, a big presentation that you've just given. The migraine then attacks you. That can be devastating. Maybe at first you just push it out of your mind. You say, "Oh, I'm just going to grab some paracetamol and keep moving." You push through. You keep pushing through, but then your client starts to notice your standards are dropping. Your clients start to notice you're acting a bit different. Then you begin to lose contracts because you're not showing up fully as yourself. You actually having sleepless nights, endless coffee, caffeinating yourself endlessly, and now you are popping painkillers. Is showing in how you show up. How do you overcome this type of situation and this type of round and round that you're going? Because guess what? If you carry on like this, the high that you were once at, you now drop to low. And perhaps maybe you're already there. How do you get out of this stage? Number one is start to track your symptoms. Start tracking when you have attacks, migraine attacks, when you have headache. Remember the 4 phases to a migraine, which we'll discuss in another episode. Start tracking your symptoms. Start tracking what you take, when you get relief, what you do that causes that trigger. So this could look like maybe you start reducing your caffeine intake, because caffeine is a double-edged sword type of stimulant. So it can trigger a migraine and it can relieve a migraine. So you want to know which one you fall under. Start to track, when do you get these attacks? What relieves them? You can start cutting out the caffeine, like I mentioned. Start regulating your sleep patterns. Create yourself a sleep routine. So if you've been sleeping at 12 in the midnight, maybe see if you can go to bed at 10 and then monitor yourself, monitor what happens. Start creating a relaxing environment for yourself. Look up your workload daily, weekly, and see where you can make changes. Tell me which one is better, cutting back and getting better, or still carrying on the way you are and then losing all your contracts, losing all your clients. And that leads you to being on Brookville. That's right. Money gone, broke. You don't want that. So having a diary, keeping track of it, that will help you to see what you can do to get you to a place where you are not surviving and thriving, but rather excelling. And if you want tracker, I'll share with you at the end how you can get one. We provide a kit for you, a toolkit that you can start to use to help you to get a hold of this state that you currently are on. You're at. Practice relaxation before your major projects or during your presentation, before your presentation. For many people that have chosen to do this, many of them see that they go from having 15 plus attacks a month to about 5 or less a month. And it is a journey. And guess what? You can get full remission from it. You can completely and utterly get rid of migraine attacks. And imagine once you get there, your project starts to look a little bit better because your clients are much more happier. The money starts flowing in. You feel much, much better. You have a roadmap and you understand your body. You know how you need to act or behave or what you need to do to be in optimal shape. And you're not having attacks as often as you used to. In fact, our goal is that you stop having any attacks completely. And that's possible. There are people that have gone from over 15 attacks a month to none at all in years. I am one of those people. And that's why I want to share this with you to encourage you that it is possible to lead your life without any migraine or even headaches. Now, if you choose not to do any of this because you've got choice, you can carry on the way you are carrying on. Don't bother tracking your attacks. Don't bother changing your sleep routine or even monitoring your sleep routine. Don't bother. You don't have to do any of this. But here is something that is likely to happen is that your attacks get worse. You go from something that was happening once in a while, episodic, we call it, to chronic, which is constantly there. And if you're someone that is already having more than 15 attacks a month, you're already in the chronic phase. If you're having less than that, you're in the episodic phase and there is hope for you. But if you choose not to start the process of tracking your attacks, making changes, you could just tip to the chronic phase. And guess what? You feel stuck in the cycle of exhaustion, continuous migraine attacks, continuous headaches, lost opportunities, declining income, relationships. There's a whole list of things that end up happening. And I'm sure you've experienced some of it. Do you want to still carry on in that state? Because if you don't start tracking your symptoms and making strategic moves is what is going to happen. You continue remaining overwhelmed, frustrated, exhausted, and losing loads of opportunities. Your reputation is likely to suffer, and the stress of it all is likely to fuel the attacks. And so you remain in that cycle continuously. And this is where many people, this is where they get stuck. They wait until their body forces them to stop. Don't let that be your story. If you're listening to this or watching this and you're thinking, this is me, this is where I am at, then don't wait. Don't wait. Grab the toolkit that we have and start implementing them. And you know what? If you want to find out and discover what your migraine profile is, because yes, there's such a thing, then I invite you to take the quiz. Discover your migraine profile quiz. And here you'll be able to see what your profile is, and you'll get to know how to tackle it, because you're unique. There's only one you out here in the street. And guess what? How the migraine affects you is completely different from how it might affect somebody else. And so how you treat yourself will be different from somebody else. So knowing your migraine profile will help you to be able to treat yourself accordingly. And you get complete migraine relief. That is what I want for you. Complete headache and migraine relief. The sooner you start this process, the sooner you get back to your life.